Hello guys, welcome back to LR Anime. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is Explanation of Battle Through the Heavens episode number 196 based on novel. So let's start. This person is likely that ancestor Hu Yun from the Burning Flame Valley. He is indeed very powerful. Xiao Yang's expression was a little grave as he glanced at the red-haired old man. Through his senses, he could tell that the strength of this old man had reached the level of a one-star dosheng. Moreover, this person was a little stronger than him. An intermediate level 1-star dosheng. The Burning Flame Valley was at the level of the three valleys after all these years despite possessing a genuine dosheng. With the strength that it possessed, it was obvious that it was comparable to the old Profound Sky Sect or the Flower Sect. However, it was clear that they did not reveal their strength. Old Yao, it is unexpected that you, an old fellow, are still alive. Ancestor Hu Yun loudly laughed in the sky. He led Tang Zhun and Tang Hu as they slowly descended. Subsequently, he looked at Yarou Lao and loudly laughed. Old fellow, you have actually reached the dosheng class. Yarou Lao laughed. From the looks of it, it was obvious that he was acquainted with ancestor Hu Yun. This ancestor nearly died while breaking through to the dosheng class. I am really a person with a terrible life compared to that lad behind you. Ancestor Hun Yun curled his lips. His eyes swung to Xiao Yang as he spoke. This junior, Xiao Yang, greets ancestor Hu Yun and Valley Chief Tang. Xiao Yang smiled, cupped his hands as greeted the guests. You are that Xiao Yang? What an outstanding person. You are very suitable for my Hu Ancestor Hu Yun's eyes observed Xiao Yang before nodding in satisfaction. You. Tang Hu's face reddened after she heard her ancestor, Hu Yun, suddenly utter such words in public, but she could only clench her teeth due to the need to give this old man face. Her eyes ferociously glared at his back. Xiao Yang was a little embarrassed by ancestor Hu Yun's words. All he could do was bitterly smile and shake his head, but he did not issue a reply. The party from the Pill Tower is also arriving. Xiao Yang's heart suddenly moved after feeling a little helpless because of ancestor Hu Yun's words. His eyes slid to the entrance of the Star Realm as the space at that spot shook before a couple of figures strangely appeared on the top of the mountain. These figures were the First Elder and Shen Kongzi's group. Old Demon Lin, even you, an old undying fellow, have come here. Surprise immediately flashed across ancestor Hu Yun's face when he saw the First Elder of the Pill Tower appear. Why? Old Demon Hu Yun, don't tell me that only you are allowed to come. The First Elder faintly laughed after hearing this question. Ha ha, since everyone is present, please proceed into the hall to discuss the alliance. Yarou Lao spoke with a smile after seeing that everyone had arrived. He turned around and flew into the Falling Star Pavilion's main pavilion. Everyone behind him followed. Everyone took their seats within a large hall inside the main pavilion. They briefly chatted before gradually approaching the main topic. Everyone, thank you for giving us face by personally arriving at our Falling Star Pavilion. Everyone should be aware of the matter today. Yarou Lao's eyes swept over the large hall. His voice was calm as he slowly said, I'm certain that everyone is aware of the actions of Hall of Souls. The Pill Tower has suffered the greatest losses since many alchemists have died by the Hall of Souls' hands. The Profound Sky Sect's encroachment on the Flower Sect over these years possesses the shadow of the Hall of Souls behind it. Back then, ancestor Hu Yun formed hostilities with the Hall of Souls, but had only ended up enduring them because he was afraid of the strength of the Hall of Souls. Yarou Lao was well aware of the grudges that these three factions had formed with the Hall of Souls. Even Xiao Yang had not heard of some of the old grudges. Sometime earlier, the Profound Sky Sect gathered a couple of factions and established the Profound River Alliance to destroy my Falling Star Pavilion. The shadow of the Hall of Souls was also present there. Additionally, both Xiao Yang and I are at complete odds with the Hall of Souls. Hence, this alliance is because all of us have a common enemy. Everyone present nodded without realizing it when they heard Yarou Lao's words. They all agreed with Yarou Lao. This alliance will work, but I don't think that interfering in the internal affairs of another faction should happen after joining the alliance, will it? Ancestor Hu Yun rotated two fireballs that he had formed in his hand and slowly asked. The alliance will be formed on equal terms. Every party is equal. Naturally, no one will have the authority to interfere in the affairs of another faction. Yarou Lao replied in a solemn fashion. Everyone's expressions relaxed after hearing his words. The most worrying aspect of an alliance was the occurrence of such incidents. Not only would they fail to become allies because of such incidents, they would end up becoming distant as a result. This alliance will not be created with overly harsh restrictions, but one of those restrictions will be that our few factions will attack and defend together. Everyone will reinforce any party in trouble. Not one of us will be able to fight the Hall of Souls with our individual strengths. Hence, we must form an alliance. Xiao Yang clearly understood what everyone was thinking after observing their expressions. He immediately spoke in a deep voice. This alliance can work. The First Elder of the Small Pill Tower slowly nodded as he spoke. Since this is an alliance, there must be an alliance chief. Otherwise, it is impossible for everyone to come to a united decision. Who will take this position as the alliance chief? The pretty woman in green palace clothes called Fairy Ching from the flower sect asked in a faint voice. The large hall was silence after hearing these words. This question was a little sensitive and important. Due to the alliance being suggested by me, asking me to select an alliance chief will only cause some unnecessary gossip. Hence, your 3 parties should select the alliance chief. We will agree as long as it is a suitable person. Yarrow Larrow mused before speaking. The other 3 parties were slightly startled after hearing Yarrow Larrow abandon any thoughts of taking that position. They quickly felt a little embarrassed, especially Fairy Ching. Her face revealed an apology. It was not her intention to get Yarrow Larrow to clarify anything. Haha, everyone need not be worried. Other than an alliance chief, the other 3 parties will occupy 3 deputy alliance chief positions. If the opinions of these 3 deputy alliance chiefs are unanimous, they can reverse the decision of the alliance chief. No one needs to worry about the alliance chief forcefully issuing orders. Xiao Yang laughed. The position of the chief must be a person with great strength and a reputation that everyone respects. I am not suitable for this position. Additionally, Ancestor Hu Yun might be powerful, but his temper is a little too hot. He would inevitably be impulsive. Hence, he is also not suitable to be the alliance chief. Fairy Ching hesitated for a moment before slowly speaking. Ancestor Hu Yun immediately rolled his eyes after hearing her words, but he did not object. The thing he hated most were management roles. If he didn't hate them, he would not have forced the Burning Flame Valley to be managed by others a long time ago. Hence, the 2 most suitable people are old Mr. Lin from the Pill Tower and Yarrow Chen. The 2 of them are powerful and also possess a great reputation and an ability to gather people within the Central Plains. Hence, we should choose the position of alliance chief from these 2 people. Fairy Ching continued. The first elder from the small Pill Tower was stunned after hearing he was in the running. He quickly smiled and shook his head. With a soft sigh, he said, I am far too old. My blood is already extremely cold. It would be fine if this alliance merely needed to stick to a certain area, but this alliance clearly requires liveliness. If my elderly self ends up being the alliance chief, I will likely end up making it lifeless. Yarrow Chen should take this alliance chief position. Fairy Ching smiled. She quickly shifted her eyes back to Yarrow Larrow as she said, since this is the case, you cannot escape this responsibility. Yarrow Larrow bitterly smiled bitterly after hearing this decision. He hesitated for a moment, but he did not put up any resistance as he said, since everyone trusts me, I will temporarily take over this alliance chief position. I will hand it over if someone more suitable appears. Xiao Yang smiled after hearing that the position of alliance chief still ended up in Yarrow Larrow's hands. He softly said, since the alliance chief has been selected, we should decide on a name for this alliance. An alliance must ultimately have a name. Only then will everyone feel a sense of belonging. What name do you think is suitable for this alliance? If one wishes to choose a name, one must naturally choose a grand and mighty one. A petty little name will only end up as a joke. Ancestor Hu Yun seemed to be interested in selecting a name. He immediately said, why don't we call it Ultimate Righteous Hall? The corner of Xiao Yang's mouth twitched upon hearing this name. This name. Our opponent will be the Hall of Souls. Since they use the soul as a hall, we should surpass them and use the heaven as a mansion. Let's call it Heaven Mansion. First elder dryly coughed. He mused for a moment before coming up with a suggestion. Using the soul as a hall, the heaven as a mansion, this heaven mansion can work. Xiao Yang smiled before continuing. However, the sky is the heaven. Let's simplify this. We will call our alliance the Sky Mansion. What do you say? Sky Mansion, using the sky as a mansion, this is indeed grand. Ancestor Hu Yun fondled his beard. He felt that this name seemed a little better than his Ultimate Righteous Hall. Haha, that name will also work. The first elder nodded and laughed. Yarrow Larrow grinned upon hearing that everyone was in agreement. Since no one has voiced an objection, our alliance shall be called the Sky Mansion. Using the sky as a mansion is definitely more overbearing than the Hall of Souls. The alliance has been formed. Next, let's drink in honor of this newly formed Sky Mansion alliance. Xiao Yang lifted the wine cup on the table, but his expression suddenly turned dark and chilly before he could utter everything he wanted to say. His dangerous eyes shot toward the middle of the hall. The space at that spot had suddenly become distorted. A dense black fog seeped out. At the same time, an indifferent and emotionless voice reverberated through the hall. Sky Mansion? It might sound a little domineering, but this hall chief really wishes to know whether all of you will have the life to enjoy it. This hall chief. Xiao Yang's eyes abruptly shrank after hearing the indifferent voice being transmitted from distorted space. The Hall of Souls was clearly intervening by sending this person. Moreover, this person called himself Hall Chief. Could it be that he was that extremely mysterious Hall Chief of the Hall of Souls? Black fog continuously seeped out of the distorted space. It slowly formed into a human figure completely covered in black fog in front of everyone. Hall Chief of the Hall of Souls. The eyes of the first elder from the small pill tower shot to the human figure in black fog. His slightly hunched body leaned forward. The space around him began to slowly fluctuate at this moment. Perhaps addressing me as Deputy Hall Chief is better. That black fog fluctuated slightly while a faint laugh was emitted. Looks like you, the Deputy Hall Chief, is not bold enough. Since you dare to barge into my falling star pavilion, you should use your actual body. An illusory figure, could it be that you are timid? A cold smile lifted onto the corner of Xiao Yang's mouth. With his eyesight, he naturally sensed that the human figure in the black fog in front of him was merely a shadow and not the actual body. Xiao Yang, you are the first person in many years to call this chief timid. A strange laugh was emitted from the human figure in the black fog. However, your current achievements have surprised this chief. If I had known this would happen, I would have exterminated the Xiao clan back then. Those from your Hall of Souls have said these words many times. Xiao Yang's eyes were ice-cold as he slowly said. However, if you are only here to utter nonsense using your status as the Deputy Hall Chief of the Hall of Souls, then there is no need for this illusory figure to continue existing. Xiao Yang began to slowly lift his hand as he spoke. He aimed it at that illusory figure. The space around the figure began to fluctuate. The reason this chief is here is naturally because of the Chu-Shi ancient god jade in your hands. The person in the black fog faintly smiled. Black fog surged in front of him before it turned into a black mirror. The mirror rippled and an image appeared. The image was of a huge and dark prison. One of the cells had black color chains wrapped around it like a spider web. A haggard-looking figure sat in the middle of the chains. The many chains were like poisonous snakes restricted his limbs. Xiao Yang's face appeared ferocious as he looked at this figure. His body suddenly stood up. A terrifying aura erupted from his body, spreading in all directions. The tables and chairs beside him were turned into dust almost instantly. A monstrous murderous desire caused the entire hall to turn cool. Father. Xiao Yang tightly clenched his hand. His nails pierced his palm while his body trembled. That haggard figure was someone he was extremely familiar with. It was his father, Xiao Zhon. Even though he had not seen his father for many years, Xiao Yang immediately sensed a familiar feeling that came from their connected bloodline. Hand the Chu-Shi ancient god jade over to me. Otherwise, with just a thought, this very day next year will be the anniversary of your father's death. The person in the black fog seemed to be totally unconcerned about Xiao Yang's monstrous murderous intent as he coldly cried out. Creak. Xiao Yang's expression was so dark that it was terrifying. His fist emitted a cracking sound. At this moment, he was like a wild beast. He was losing his rational mind. Both of his eyes were bright red. An insane murderous desire swelled in his mind. It roared, demanding that he tear this person in front of him into tens of thousands of pieces. Xiao Yang, calm down. A somewhat icicle smooth hand gently grabbed his arm while the desire to kill surged in his mind. A worried soft cry was transmitted into his ear. Xiao Yang's heart shook slightly after hearing this cry. Only then did he regain his rational thoughts. He deeply inhaled a couple of breaths and suppressed the murderous desire in his heart. His ferocious face slowly regained its usual calm. Hand over the Chu-Shi ancient god jade. The fog around that black fog figure fluctuated after seeing Xiao Yang gradually calm down. He let out a cold cry in the process. I'm afraid that if I really hand the Chu-Shi ancient god jade to you, my father will only end up dying even quicker. Xiao Yang's eyes were terrifyingly dark as they stared at the figure in the black fog. He said, this trick is useless against me. Bring my father to me if you wish to obtain the Chu-Shi ancient god jade. Otherwise, I will only end up ignoring all of your threats. The ancient jade in my hand can sense if my father's alive. Should it lose contact, I will hand it to the Jiyu clan. At that time, you will never obtain it. You are going to ignore the death of your father because of the ancient jade. That human figure in the black fog coldly laughed upon hearing these words. Xiao Yang faintly smiled. His face once again recovered its usual calm. He didn't know why the Hall of Souls was so anxious to obtain the Chu-Shi ancient god jade. Regardless of the actual reason, the ancient jade was the talisman that protected his father's life. The Hall of Souls would not dare to truly take his father's life as long as the ancient jade was around. Hence, he could not hand over the ancient jade before he could guarantee Xiao Zhon's safety. There was a high chance that the Hall of Souls would truly take his father's life the moment he handed it over. What a ruthless person. It is indeed as First Chenzuan mentioned. Such methods will not work against you. As Xiao Yang regained his composure, the human figure in the black fog understood that this scheme did not have much of an effect. Xiao Yang was expressionless. He said, if you do not dare to reveal your actual body, you can get lost now. Xiao Yang, you should cease acting arrogantly in front of this chief. Do you really think that you can fight my Hall of Souls by just establishing this so-called Sky Mansion alliance? TSK, just wait. Once all of you become aware of the strength of my Hall of Souls, you will naturally give up all hope. That human figure in the black fog strangely laughed. As for the Pill Tower, our Hall of Souls would normally give you some face, but you have given this up, so do not blame my Hall of Souls for being vicious. Coincidentally, we have been eyeing the alchemists in your Pill Tower for a long time. I will also advise the Flower Sect and the Burning Flame Valley to not randomly get involved in this mess. Otherwise, it will be too late to rethink things when your faction is destroyed. Whether you can swallow my Pill Tower will depend on how hard your teeth are. The first elder coldly laughed. Fairy Ching and Ancestor Hu Yun narrowed their eyes, but they merely looked from the side with cold eyes and did not utter a word. Xiao Yang's eyes were dark and cold as he stared at the human figure in the black fog. He was too lazy to argue with the latter. He slowly clenched his hand. Inform everyone after you return that I will kill every single bastard from the Hall of Souls and the Hun clan in the future. The space around that person in the black fog immediately collapsed with a bang the moment Xiao Yang clenched his hand. A frightening strength cracked space itself. At the same time, that person in black fog instantly turned into nothing. What an arrogant brat. Who do you think you are? Even someone as strong as Xiao Xian was defeated by the hands of my Hun clan. You, a mere one-star Do Sheng, really do not know your limits. Ha ha, this chief will wait for that day to come. As long as you dare to come, I will personally kill you. A strange laughter echoed within the large hall after the human figure in the black fog disappeared. The laughter continued for a long time. Looks like our alliance was discovered by the Hall of Souls a long time ago. Otherwise, this person would not have shown himself in an attempt to deter everyone present and hinder the alliance. Yarrow Larrow slowly spoke as he watched the hall gradually become quiet. This alliance has definitely caused the Hall of Souls to feel a little fear. Otherwise, they would not do such a thing given their characters. Xiao Yang spoke in a faint voice. Has anyone heard of that deputy hall chief from the Hall of Souls earlier? I've never heard of him. There are many experts within the Hun clan. This deputy hall chief is probably an expert from within the Hun clan. Ancestor Hu Yun frowned and coldly laughed. However, the strength of this person is at the very most a 3-star Do Sheng. Otherwise, it would not be a shadow arriving today. Instead, it would have been an actual person. He only hid himself because he is not confident he can defeat all of us. Xiao Yang slightly nodded. The deputy hall chief from earlier was clearly afraid of their lineup. Everyone, the matter of the alliance has already been settled. Does anyone have any final inquiries? Xiao Yang's eyes swept over everyone as he continued. The Hall of Souls is this alliance's powerful enemy. Once this alliance is publicly announced, the Hall of Souls will definitely not stay calm. At that time, we will have to join hands and fight our enemy. The first elder of the Pill Tower, Ancestor Hu Yun, Fairy Ching, and the rest looked at each other. Finally, they slowly shook their heads. None of them were ordinary. It was impossible for them to be frightened to the point of changing their minds because the deputy chief of the Hall of Souls threatened them. Since this is the case, we will announce this matter in a couple of days. At that time, I hope everyone will act to build a wormhole between each faction in order to reinforce any party as fast as possible. Xiao Yang uttered in a deep voice. Aye. Everyone nodded upon hearing his words. The alliance was formed. It was likely that the Hall of Souls would make a formal response to this alliance. Their futures would not be peaceful. Let's not delay any longer. We will now head back and build wormholes. Xiao Yang smiled and nodded as he watched Ancestor Hu Yun and the rest stand up to leave. He stood up with Yarrow Larrow's group and sent them off. His eyes looked at their swiftly disappearing figures. After which, he exchanged glances with those present. All of them felt a storm approaching. The Central Plains, which had been relatively calm for many years, was likely going to be lively again, after the Falling Star Pavilion, the Pill Tower, the Flower Sect, and the Burning Flame Valley announced the formation of the Sky Mansion Alliance. The entire Central Plains was blasted apart by this extremely huge bomb. Chaos instantly erupted across the land. The 4 big factions possessed extremely renowned reputations within the Central Plains. Any one of them could be considered a giant. A faction like the Pill Tower could no longer be described as a simple giant. This faction possessed an extremely frightening ability to gather people. It might have appeared extremely gentle over the years, but as long as one was not a fool, one would be able to detect the frightening strength hidden beneath this lazy appearance. The lineup from the formation of this alliance between 4 powerful factions was many times stronger than the Profound River Alliance before. Compared to this newly formed Sky Mansion Alliance, the Profound River Alliance was an extremely ordinary shrimp. Just a random finger of the Sky Mansion Alliance could destroy the Profound River Alliance. Everyone could imagine how much the strength of this alliance, formed by the 4 factions, would swell. If this large alliance were to face the extremely large Hall of Souls, it would no longer need to feel the least bit afraid. A new super-faction that could match the strength of the Hall of Souls was born within the Central Plains. While the Central Plains was in an uproar over this explosive news, many sects and factions began to think. Everyone in the world thought of grabbing this giant support to gain good prospects. The strength of this Sky Mansion alliance could only be described as shocking. In the future, few factions in this world could compare with them. If a faction or an individual was able to enjoy their protection, it would end up bringing them many benefits. Hence, on the third day after this news was released, the Falling Star Pavilion had suddenly become extremely lively. The leaders of tons of factions had hurried over a great distance to reach the Falling Star Pavilion. They were all requesting to join this alliance. Yarrow Laro and Xiao Yang did not accept all of these requests that came from everywhere. This alliance was their only capital to fight the Hall of Souls. Naturally, they viewed it with great importance. Most of these factions were fence-sitters. They had only come to them because the alliance was strong. Should the alliance end up losing its power, these people would immediately leave. At that time, it would be a blow to the alliance's morale. Hence, they did not accept these factions, which were like rat feces. However, there was little need for Xiao Yang to worry about such matters. Due to this being a busy period of time, Feng Zunjia, who had been managing the tasks in the other territories of the Falling Star Pavilion, had been summoned back by Yarrow Laro. During these years, Feng Zunjia and Yarrow Laro had managed the external matters and internal matters of the Falling Star Pavilion. This was a key reason for the rapid development of the Falling Star Pavilion. Although Feng Zunjia's reputation and strength were both inferior to Yarrow Laro, he was better at Yarrow Laro when it came to management. Hence, Yarrow Laro hurriedly dispatched some other elders to take over Feng Zunjia's previous tasks once the alliance was successful. Then Feng Zunjia hurried back and resolve all these troublesome tasks. There was clearly no need to doubt Feng Zunjia's ability to manage. Soon after returning to the Falling Star Pavilion, he had begun to settle various tasks. After numerous tasks were settled in an orderly fashion by Feng Zunjia, both Xiao Yang and Yarrow Laro ended up feeling a little ashamed. Following the flow of time, some factions passed the strict selection process and successfully joined the Sky Mansion Alliance. This allowed this alliance's reputation to continue rising a little at a time. If this positive cycle continued, the potential of the Sky Mansion Alliance would undoubtedly be a little frightening with the help of the Pill Tower. The four big factions had made full use this period of time to build the wormholes. Now, they would be able to rapidly hurry to each other's aid. Only then could they be considered an alliance that attacked and defended together. However, Xiao Yang found it a little surprising that the Hall of Souls did not do anything while the alliance was busy. It was as though they need not care about this alliance that could threaten them. Regardless of what the Hall of Souls did, Xiao Yang's group had decided to establish a specialized information hall after some discussions. The aim of this information hall was to investigate all of the branches the Hall of Souls had created across the Central Plains. One should always know one's enemy as well as one knows oneself. The Hall of Souls was their greatest enemy. Hence, the alliance needed to be aware of their locations. Once the time was ripe, they might even be able to shift from being passive to being active. It must be said that the cooperation of the four big factions after the formation of the alliance was extremely great. Within half a month, 2 of the branch halls of the Hall of Souls had been discovered. Although they had suffered some losses during the search, they still ended up gaining a lot. Xiao Yang felt the impulse to eliminate these branch halls personally, but he suppressed this impulse after calming down. Although the strength of the alliance had been increased, they would end up in a situation where no one would win if they were to fight to the death with the Hall of Souls now. This ending was not what Xiao Yang desired because there was still the even more frightening Hun clan behind the Hall of Souls. The alliance might be a sharp weapon used to fight the Hall of Souls, but it was also a powerful strength to deter the Hall of Souls. It must possess a powerful strength at all times. Otherwise, this alliance would ultimately end up in the same situation as ancestor Xiao Xian. This alliance was only in its infancy. Once everything stabilized in the future, the influence and the abilities of the Pill Tower might even attract some Bansheng or even some Dosheng old demons who were living in isolation. If it was possible to absorb them into the alliance, they would truly benefit the alliance. Hence, the current Sky Mansion Alliance could not be arrogant just because of the recent increase in strength. They would only succeed in dealing with the Hall of Souls and the Hun clan if they accumulated strength slowly and were always well prepared. They would quietly gather strength and wait for the proper time to unleash it. While the Alliance was searching for the locations of the Hall of Souls, the Alliance also selected some extremely powerful experts to form some small teams. These teams were created to prevent the Hall of Souls from continuing to capture the souls of the Alliance's alchemists. These small teams would roam the territories of the Alliance. They would hurry over at the fastest speed if they discovered any Alliance signal that requested help. This special protection undoubtedly pleased the alchemists from the Pill Tower. Some of the alchemists, who had been displeased about the Pill Tower giving up its neutral stance, gradually accepted the protection and the benefits that this alliance provided them with. 1 month quietly passed while this alliance was bustling with activity and unleashing a shocking potential. Xiao Yang, Yarrow Larrow, Kaelin, the little fairy doctor, and some others were seated in a quiet courtyard within the Falling Star Pavilion. It was a rare opportunity for them to gather together. This busy period had made it impossible for all of them to free themselves. There has still been no reaction from the Hall of Souls. If I have guessed correctly, they should be waiting for the purifying demonic lotus flame that will appear in 9 months. Yarrow Larrow lifted his teacup. He sipped from it before slowly revealing his thoughts. How could they know any information regarding the purifying demonic lotus flame? Xiao Yang knit his brows. This news was something that he had learned after spending over a decade collecting all the map fragments. How was it possible for the Hun clan to know of it? The things that the Hun clan know far exceed what you can imagine. Yarrow Larrow smiled faintly and said, "This is also not the first time the purifying demonic lotus flame has appeared. They have been around for many years, and probably have records of it." Xiao Yang was a little speechless after hearing this explanation. His hand rubbed his forehead without realizing it. If the mysterious light inside of his head was useless, it was really a waste to search for all the map fragments. There are still 9 months before the purifying demonic lotus flame will appear. You should also make preparations. The Hall of Souls will definitely dispatch truly strong individuals to snatch it. Hence, we must try our best to raise our strength as much as possible. Yarrow Larrow spoke. It is not easy to advance even a little within the Dosheng class. In another 3 months, I should be able to reach the 1-star Dosheng intermediate level. At this rate, I will only, at the very most, be at the peak 1-star DKU Sheng class after 9 months, Xiao Yang helplessly uttered. I am not talking about you. I am talking about Kaelin. She is a 7-colored heaven-swallowing python. As long as she is provided with enough energy, she will quickly advance to the Bansheng class. The heaven-swallowing python's physical body is strong. She will be able to fight against a genuine Dosheng. If she can advance to the Bansheng class, she will be of great help to you. Yarrow Larrow laughed. That little girlfriend of yours in the Jiyu clan is rumored to have undertaken a retreat after leaving the ancient wasteland region. Once she exits her retreat, the Jiyu clan will have gained an additional elite Dosheng. At that time, if we call her to join us, she will definitely also be of great help. Xiao Yang could only bitterly smile after hearing Yarrow Larrow's words. Kaelin and Zun both possessed unusually great potential. One of them was a 7-colored heaven-swallowing python, an existence even rarer than the ancient void dragon, while the other possessed the legendary divine bloodline. They would be able to obtain double the results with half the effort while training. Xiao Yang appeared ordinary when compared to them, but there was ultimately a lot of unfairness in this world. If Xiao Yang were to focus on this unfairness, he would not have been able to attain his current achievements. Although a 7-colored heaven-swallowing python will be able to advance as long as it has the energy to do so, the energy required is extremely frightening. Where can we go and find such a terrifying treasure ground? Xiao Yang softly sighed. There is a spot in this world that could help Kaelin temper her physical body. Moreover, she is in possession of an extremely rare 9-colored essence stone. If she is very lucky, she might even be able to evolve into an existence comparable to an ancient heaven snake king, a 9-colored heaven-swallowing python. Yarrow Larrow narrowed his eyes. He smiled slightly as he spoke. Where? Both Xiao Yang's and Kaelin's eyes swiftly gathered on Yarrow Larrow. The 9 serene deep-ground python tribe's 9 serene spring. Yarrow Larrow laughed. His eyes suddenly looked at Xiao Yang as he said, if you wish to subdue the purifying lotus demon flame, this 9 serene spring is a place you must visit. Flow. Placed this part in previous paragraph to improve flow. Why? Xiao Yang was slightly startled after hearing Yarrow Larrow's words. Don't tell me that you think that nothing will go wrong while subduing the purifying demonic lotus flame just because you have reached the Dosheng class, do you? Yarrow Larrow's eyes were a little strange as he looked at Xiao Yang and laughed. You can't even do this. The corner of Xiao Yang's mouth twitched. Swallowing a heavenly flame that was ranked near the end would no longer significantly raise his strength, yet Yarrow Larrow was currently saying that this strength was still insufficient. WNT, this a little too shocking? There is only one of each of the top 3 heavenly flames on the heavenly flame ranking. How could it be so easy to subdue this type of divine object that has terrified all beings? Yarrow Larrow shook his head and softly sighed. I have read some ancient texts while you were in your retreat. The texts briefly mentioned some information related to the purifying demonic lotus flame. The demon flame appears once every 1,000 years, but no one has been able to subdue it even now. You should be able to understand a little more from this. Xiao Yang's expression changed. He tilted his in agreement. The birth of the purifying demonic lotus flame would attract the peak experts of this world, but no one successfully tamed it even with its many appearances. This alone was enough to prove just how frightening it was. Since those peak experts had ended up failing, Xiao Yang would not be able to subdue it with his 1-star initial level Dosheng strength. You must prepare to subdue the purifying demonic lotus flame. Yarrow Laro's expression was grave as he spoke. Xiao Yang already boasted the strength of a Do Sheng. If he were given an ordinary heavenly flame to swallow, his strength wouldn't rise much, so if he wished to significantly raise his strength again, he would need to search for the top 3 heavenly flames. Does that 9 serene spring have anything we need? Xiao Yang asked. Yarrow Laro slowly nodded. He clenched his hand, and an ancient dark red scroll appeared in it. A wave of cold ripple spread the moment the scroll appeared. These ripples filled the surrounding air. It was as though a cold sea of clouds had appeared. This scroll was quite mysterious. This is a tier 9 medicinal formula that I spent a lot price to obtain. It is called the 9-yin yellow spring pill. While you are subduing the purifying demonic lotus flame, you can insert it into the purifying demonic lotus flame's body. The extreme yin force will weaken the demon flame, increasing the chances of successfully subduing it. Yarrow Laro rubbed this ancient scroll. He had paid a large price for this medicinal formula in order to take it from the hands of an alchemist guru. However, you need a key ingredient in order to refine this 9-yin yellow spring pill. That ingredient is the spring blood crystal. This spring blood crystal only forms at the bottom of the spring. Hence, you must make a trip to the 9 serene spring within these 9 months. There you need to obtain a spring blood crystal and then find time to refine a 9-yin yellow spring pill. Only by doing this will you have a higher chance of subduing the purifying demonic lotus flame. Xiao Yang's eyes looked at the ancient dark red scroll. He slowly nodded a moment later. The purifying demonic lotus flame was really too important to him. Therefore, he needed to obtain it regardless of what happened. If he failed this time around, waiting another 1,000 years for the demon flame to appear again would be extremely difficult for him. It has been many years since I have prepared something in order to swallow a heavenly flame. Xiao Yang softly sighed after receiving the ancient dark red scroll. He had only refined some medicinal pills to swallow a heavenly flame when he had swallowed the green lotus core flame and the falling heart flame. Since then, he had simply swallowed the other heavenly flames he found. There was no need to prepare anything. It was unexpected that he needed to perform these old steps again. There is no other way. The purifying demonic lotus flame is not something the 3000 burning flame can compare with. Just imagine what kind of great being the purifying demonic lotus saint was. It was rumored that his death was because of a backlash from the purifying demonic lotus flame. Yarrow Laro explained. Oh! Xiao Yang's heart quivered after hearing this rumor. His face revealed a solemn expression. That purifying demonic lotus saint was at least a 9-star Do Sheng. Even such an expert ended up dying to the purifying demonic lotus flame. His 1-star Do Sheng strength was really insufficient. Looks like I must prepare this 9-yin spring pill. Xiao Yang slowly nodded. He immediately said, is the 9 serene spring managed by the 9 serene deep ground python? Aye, the 9 serene spring is located deep underground. That place is the territory of the 9 serene deep ground python. They view that place as a holy ground. Any 9 serene deep ground python that is about to advance in rank will soak inside it. Soaking will smooth their breakthrough. However, the spring water in the 9 serene deep ground python has a dark and cold affinity. It is a mysterious training ground for snake magical beasts that are of this affinity. However, even I do not dare to venture deep into it because the 9 serene spring is too dark and cold. Yarrow Laro spoke in a solemn voice. Fortunately, you possess 4 types of heavenly flames. With the heavenly flames protecting your body, you should be able to reach the deepest part of the 9 serene spring to obtain the spring blood crystals. That place can be also considered a sacred ground to Kaelin. A 7-colored heaven-swallowing python is a divine snake species, while the 9-colored heaven-swallowing python is an existence comparable to the ancient heaven python king. If Kaelin is able to successfully evolve within the 9 serene spring, her strength will undoubtedly soar. Yarrow Laro smiled and said, if she evolves into a 9-colored heaven-swallowing python, the snake form that she can transform will be able to devour an entire mountain range. It will even be able to devour the sky itself. Xiao Yang nodded. The 7-colored heaven-swallowing python was by itself rare, but the 9-colored heaven-swallowing python was even rarer. Even during ancient times, it had sparingly appeared. He would not doubt Cai Lin's strength after she successfully evolved. Since the 9 serene spring is managed by the 9 serene deep ground python, they will naturally stop us from entering. Xiao Yang voiced his thoughts. The 9 serene deep ground python was also one of the 3 great tribes within the magical beast world. Their strength could not be underestimated. There would definitely be true peak experts present. It was likely that this trip would not be relaxing. With your current strength, there are extremely few in the 9 serene deep ground python tribe that can defeat you. Those old demons that hide themselves will not appear often. Of course, should that really happen, you can tear the spatial token. I will frequently be with Ancestor Hu Yun during this period of time. We will hurry over if we are summoned. With the current strength of our Sky Mansion Alliance, We have nothing to fear from them, Yarrow Larrow laughed. Xiao Yang smiled after hearing Yarrow Larrow's words. The Falling Star Pavilion might not be comparable to the 9 serene deep-ground python tribe, but the alliance had formed. With the alliance's strength, there was no longer a need for them to be afraid of the 9 serene deep-ground python tribe. In that case, we should leave tomorrow since we are pressed for time. Xiao Yang also understood that they were a little tight in terms of time. They were approaching the time when the purifying demonic lotus flame would appear. He needed to refine the 9-yin spring pill before that event happened. Otherwise, if he ended up failing to subdue the purifying demonic lotus flame, he would not even be able to regret failing. You can rest assured that I will ensure that the matters of the alliance are taken care of. Yarrow Larrow smiled and nodded. The moment the sky turned bright the next morning, Xiao Yang led Kaelin, the little fairy doctor, and Qing Tan out of the Falling Star Pavilion. They hurried to the Beast region. This was not the first time Xiao Yang had headed to the Beast region, so he was quite familiar with the route. His strength had soared. Naturally, his speed was many times faster. The journey, which would have taken a couple of days in the past, was made in half a day. Xiao Yang's group did not stay in one place for long after having entered the Beast region. They headed to the region where the 9 serene deep-ground python tribe was. The true settlement of the 9 serene deep-ground python tribe was deep underground, even though they had many branches on the surface. The numbers that this tribe boasted could be ranked at the top of the 3 large clans, but its large numbers resulted in its bloodline becoming impure. Based on the estimation of the elders of the 9 serene deep-ground python, the ancient bloodline of all the tribe members of the 9 serene deep-ground python would be exhausted within 100 years if this continued. At that time, the 9 serene deep-ground python would end up in a situation where they were similar to an ordinary magical beast. Many arguments happened within the 9 serene deep-ground python tribe because of this matter. However, without the supplement of an ancient bloodline, it was only a matter of time for that day to come at the rate they bred. The 9 serene ground abyss was a key tunnel that led into the underground world. It was also occupied by the 9 serene deep-ground python tribe. Hence, the defenses were quite tight, but these tight defenses were something that only deterred ordinary experts. With Xiao Yang's current strength, such a defenses would not even be able to detect his figure. Xiao Yang's group appeared on top of a mountain a short distance away from the deep abyss. Xiao Yang glanced at the tight defenses, only to shake his head. He was just about to activate the spatial strength to bring everyone into the deep abyss when the rushing sound of wind was suddenly emitted a short distance away. A couple of figures flashed and hurried over from the horizon. They appeared above the deep abyss within a couple of flashes. These people, they seems to be members of the ancient Void Dragon tribe. Xiao Yang looked at the few figures as surprise flashed across his face. There was a tendril of Dragon Phoenix bloodline inside his body. Naturally, he had a special ability to sense the blood of an ancient Void Dragon, but he was surprised to find that he would meet members of the ancient Void Dragon tribe in this place. Could it be that Zi Yang has sent them? However, she should be out resolving the matters of the other 3 great dragon kings. Why would she dispatch people to the 9 serene deep-ground python tribe since they have no relation with them? Xiao Yang frowned. A thought quickly passed through his heart as a fluctuation spread from his body. This fluctuation swiftly spread apart. Soon after this fluctuation spread, a halting voice was transmitted into his ear through the air. Dragon King, dispatch. This video will end here.